That statement was that, Rajesh, in life, remember one thing: either a situation will control you or you have to control every situation. You need to choose the second option. If you do that, you'll be a successful man. And since then, and that was very young in the day, that night changed my life, and it changed for good, and it changed forever. So no situation should control you. You should control every situation. That is a learning that was given to me by my mom.
Today's guest is the definition of started from challenges and built an empire. He's an entrepreneur, investor, author, strategic growth partner, but more than all of that, he's someone who's turned every setback into a stepping stone. From reviving stalled real estate projects to scaling hospitality brands, backing D2C companies, building tech ventures, monetizing content, and supporting founders across the world, he's seen and done it all. Agnelo, welcome to Success Decoded. I want to ask you, we always start by asking our guests about this concept of an elegant virtue, which I'll explain a little bit. This is basically like trust, honesty, respect, resilience, whatever it is, that you feel that has been an anchor for you since childhood, that has led you through everything. What would that one thing be for you?
Being happy in every situation, because for me, I have got a diverse background of situations right from my childhood till date. And I learned one thing, that happiness is a frame of mind. If you think you're happy, you're right. And if you think you're not, again, you're right. So you have to choose what is right. And so being happy in every situation, like I said, situations for me dramatically kept changing as I lived life, right from my childhood till date, and probably in the near future also.
Right. Oh, that's
So
amazing.
happiness is something that I chose.
And you said something, Gwen, here's one of our Success Decoded here, is that what you think you are, right? So it's exactly what you're
Absolutely.
saying. So let's
Absolutely.
choose to be happy. And we're going to talk a little bit about how to do that. Would you talk to us a little bit about that childhood that you're referring to? I think you probably will inspire a lot of people if you feel comfortable talking about it.
Absolutely fine. I had a very interesting and a very challenging economically challenging background, but an emotionally rich background, because when you are economically challenged, it actually brings the family together. So we were three brothers, dad and mom, and this economic challenging situation was really making sure that we stayed together as one single strong family, and it trained us on values of life, real life. Apart from teaching us the value of money, which today is a part of my life, on how to value money, how to respect it, how to honor it, and how to ensure that it continues not only for me, but also for all the other people who are associated with me in my life.
That's really wonderful, and it's a great thing. It also sounds like your parents had a lot of emotional intelligence because, yes, okay, you're economically challenged, but at the same time, that often can lead to things breaking apart, right? So there must have been quite a bit of leadership. We don't think about leadership in the family sense, but there must have been quite a bit of leadership from your parents to inspire you and your brothers to have that outcome, to come in and grow together. So that's wonderful. But what was the unspoken rule at home? So this mindset coming together. How else would you say? Was there something else, that mindset of your family?
What I observed from my parents is they were my first set of leaders that life showed me on. And apart from the teachers that I admired in my school, who really taught us so well that we became what we became. But my parents were true leaders for me in the childhood. In spite of having an economically challenging background, never once in my entire life did I ever hear my parents grumble about money. Never. And that is so imprinted fresh on my mind and my soul, that they were absolutely not bothered about the circumstance financially. They were very much concerned about the children, that is me and my brothers, the education that we were getting, and making sure that they were doing to their best of ability whatever they could. Never once have I seen my parents fighting for anything related to money.
Amazing. Do you think that they had this concept? You see this in social media everywhere, but I think you lived it and your parents were living it, which is they had this abundance mindset, right? So they may not have had, but their mindset was, it will be sorted. That's not where we're going to focus. Because they say that if you focus on scarcity, that's what you will attract. Instead, if you focus on the things you want to develop and grow, that's what you will have. Do you think you agree with that? That's what
I
your parents
do
had?
100% agree to that,
Okay.
but I, more than abundance, I understood a sacrificing mindset.
Amazing.
My parents were always ready all the time ready to sacrifice their pleasures to ensure that the three boys get a good and a better life.
Oh, amazing.
So whether it is food, whether it is clothing, whether it is living, their priority was us. Now that imprinted a very strong sacrificing mindset on me as a child. It also carried on to my brothers. But since I was the eldest with big age gaps between me and my brothers, I really studied them very closely. Today, when I fall back on bed tonight, or every night that I fall back on bed, when I think about my parents, I really realize that what all I learned from them. Sacrificing mindset is what I took from them in a very, very big way.
Yeah.
Apart from having a mind of abundance, that they were happy with whatever they had. So
Gratitude.
that feeling was very strong, the feeling of gratitude. Never they grumbled
Yeah.
or argued about that. But the sacrificing nature that I saw in them was a great learning for me, right from my childhood, right from the time I took my senses.
Well, that's amazing resilience. And I'm sure as they've seen you climb through all of your achievements, they must have been incredibly proud. Although I have to say, I'm a parent, I would have to say, I don't know, I don't think I sacrificed. I'm sure they probably don't think that they were sacrificing. They were saying, I'm doing what I, of course, will do for my children. But it's wonderful that you had the mindset to realize what they were doing, because that gives you a huge amount of self-agency, which is really important for resilience and to get to, for example, where we are in success. So Success Decoded there. This is great from the beginnings. Okay, your obstacles to opportunities mindset didn't come out of nowhere. So you've just told us a little bit about that. You picked it up from your parents. Is there anything that you consciously unlearned from your childhood?
Uh, they lived with the situation. They lived with the situation. They had limited resources. So they lived with the situation. I unlearned that because I wanted to always change my situation. I always wanted to change my circumstances. So that is what I unlearned from them. They were comfortable and satisfied in whatever they were doing. What I unlearned was you should never be satisfied in life. You should keep achieving. I love to say this to the people and to the world around me, that money in good hands builds the society. It is mandatory for us to keep changing our circumstances so that directly and indirectly you're also changing the circumstances of all the people and many people in your life and people around you. So that is what one thing that I unlearned from my parents.
So maybe we could talk a little bit, I'm getting a little off topic on the questions here, but maybe we could talk a little bit about that. So I'm sure you went through in this mindset points where you maybe not wanted to settle, but you wanted to maybe take a little slower route on that changing your circumstances. What did you tell yourself in those moments to keep on going?
Oh, I'm a fast guy. I'm a very aggressive guy. So I just wanted to change every possible situation in the shortest possible time. So I didn't leave for time to earn on me. I wanted to earn on time. And right from my school days, that's the reason I started working very young. So I've been working since the age of 13. And I used to earn a decent amount of money for my life standards at that point of time. But that used to amount to 14 rupees a month. 14 rupees per month is almost 20% of a dollar. So that is what I used to earn for the whole month. But that was sufficient for me at that point of time. So the circumstance taught me that I need to be financially independent and not be a burden on my parents, so that my parents could take better care of my two siblings. And I also could participate in doing that.
This is a huge amount of self-responsibility, which I wish we could bottle it and like sell it. That would be a product, right? That's
It
the
would
next
be a
thing.
bestseller.
Oh my bestseller. Are you kidding me? Trust me, there are so many because
Absolutely.
now especially we're dealing with generational differences. So you have different like Gen X generation, then you have the millennial generation, you have Gen Z generation. We all have our strengths, we all have our weaknesses. I think one of the ones that we get a lot about the younger generation is this kind of concept, the self-agency and then the drive and then also self-responsibility and family responsibility bit of it. So if we could bottle that and then we could give it to that other generation, I think we'd be doing amazing, right? Like the
Absolutely.
world would be exploding, right?
Absolutely.
So I wish we could do that. And I'm actually taking some notes for my own self as well. Okay, so who was the person in your early life who made you feel grounded? The one who showed you strength before you even understood the word?
That's my mother. She was a strong support and strength and confidence for me. So in 1984, I was 13 years of age in my sixth standard, and we were living in a tenanted home, which was given to us by an agency called Housing Board. That's the government agency which provides houses to the underprivileged, economically challenged category of the society. So we had one house. My mother had got that in 1971, and we went to live there in 1982. And in 1984, rent was not paid for the last 13 years. And that rent in today's dollar terms was $15. So $15 was the rent for 13 years, which was unpaid. So my mom took me to a jeweler's place, and my mom had three pieces of gold jewelry, two bangles, and one locket. In India, we call it as the Mangal Sutra. Mangal Sutra is a jewelry which married women wear. And it is not only religious, but it is also a matter of pride that a married woman wears a gold Mangal Sutra. So she had these three pieces of gold, that's it. And it was after school. She took me to a store, a jewelry store, and she sold that jewelry in front of my eyes. And I witnessed it. I had tears in my eyes. So she told me one powerful statement, and that statement will live along with me till the last breath that I take. That statement was that, Rajesh, in life, remember one thing: either a situation will control you, or you have to control every situation. You need to choose the second option. If you do that, you'll be a successful man. And since then, and that was very young in the day, that night changed my life, and it changed for good, and it changed forever. So no situation should control you. You should control every situation. That is a learning that was given to me by my mom.
Yeah, and that's a huge amount of strength, everyone. Like, and can you imagine? I mean, as a mother, I'm getting very actually emotional about it. Like, for her, that moment that she took a step back and she was like, I'm going to use this. I mean, for her, it must have been, I mean, first of all, her ego, she had none. She put it totally aside. She's like, I have to deal with this situation. She reminds me a lot of my grandmother, actually. So hearing this is actually bringing up a lot of emotions for me because of my family, my mom's background and everything. But
That's why I mentioned that my parents were teachers of sacrifice for me.
yeah, absolutely. But also her mindset of, okay, I'm going to show my son and I'm going to make sure and not show my son because we're human, right? So in that moment she could have shown and she could have made you feel not intentionally but bad about the situation or low about the situation, but instead she turned it into a learning situation and she actually
Absolutely.
as a way to instill this in you so that you would grow. I mean, that's huge, everyone. I hope that we're all listening to this. And I mean, I don't know if your mother is still with us or not, but bravo to
We
her.
lost her a couple of years back.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Unfortunately.
Well, I'm sure wherever
She's happy
she's
wherever
hearing it.
she is. Yeah.
Exactly, and she's hearing this, and she's got to be. She must have been massively proud of you. Also, she is a very tough woman because she is the mother of three boys. I can also guarantee you that. I know that as well. I mean, that takes something as well. Okay, so we'll switch a little bit into the beginning of this empire that you have now built. So let's rewind to the very first spark. What was happening in your life when the entrepreneur in you woke up?
Again, it woke up very early in my life because when I was in my 11th standard, that was almost in 1989, I realized that doing a job is not going to be my game, because doing a job might change my fortunes in a personal capacity, but not for my entire family. So I wanted to do something where I could earn in proportion of the efforts that I put in and the risk that I took. So I started the entrepreneurial journey, and where I became a salesman, and I went door to door selling clothes, cosmetics, Venki's chicken, pile chappals, perfumes. I went door to door and sold that. But today, in hindsight, I realized that was the best MBA of my life. That was my best education, because that gave me grit, determination, confidence. I became shameless, and being shameless is very critical. It's an attitude you need to build out of experience. I've stopped feeling shy because I was doing the right thing. So I had people opening up their doors, I had people banging their doors on my face, I had people abusing me and cursing me, and I had people who not only opened their doors but also opened their hearts and bought what I was selling, whether they needed it or not, because they realized that if I buy this from this young boy, probably he will study better. And I also came across such people who had an emotional heart and an emotional mind. So it was a brilliant experience and exposure, and I'm blessed and I'm grateful that I could live that journey.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think also that tells you there's many different things there. I think we are so resistant to doing things like this because it puts us in a very uncomfortable, you must have been in a very uncomfortable zone, at least when you started doing it, because you're shy, it's awkward, all those things happen to you. The door gets slammed, some people say no, they use bad words, whatever's happening. And you have to put your ego aside big time. And in addition to that, you have to be pretty resilient to the whole process, but also appreciative. I hope everybody's seeing the trend here, which is the ego's going aside, the mindset is very strong and resilient, but also the gratitude is there immensely. Because I imagine that through this process, you looked on those days that were going really bad for the light of the people that were not that bad in that moment, and you probably held on to that part, and that kept you going. And also, I think the foundations of what you're talking about is what every successful human being, especially these huge business magnets, this is how it happens, is they develop it this way. So it sounds like a tough beginning, but I think it was maybe the best education, as you said. Very well said. Okay, so you've built businesses across real estate, hospitality, technology, athleisure, and content, which I can't wait to talk about the content part. What was the first moment that you realized I can build something bigger than my circumstances?
I always challenged myself, and every circumstance that I had, I overcame that, and I always saw that the next circumstance that I take over should be bigger than the previous one, and that's been a life journey, and that's kept happening all the time. Like I went as a door-to-door salesman. Then I got into computer education. We were the largest computer education company in Mumbai in the 90s when computer education was considered as a luxury. St. Angelo's Computers Limited was the name of my company. From computer education, I went into a bigger goal. I became a real estate developer in the early 2000. Then I went into multiple other businesses. So every time I created a bigger and a better situation and a circumstance for myself. So it was consistent, it was persistent, it was consistent, it was focused, and there was a lot of determination in whatever I kept doing all the time.
Yeah. In those moments where you transition, because what you just told me, you transitioned from salesman to running computer technology. I mean, it's a pretty big jump, and you're a very intelligent person, so I know you'll make it work. You'll figure it out. You'll land on your feet. That's fine. But there must have been those moments when you're transitioning. I think this would be really helpful for our viewers, people that are about to make a transition into a very unknown, whatever it is, they have no idea what they're doing, industry, maybe it's a job, whatever it is. There's going to be those feelings of fear. There's going to be the feelings of, I don't know, what imposter syndrome. I have no idea what I'm doing. Are the skills I have enough that I had before? If you've probably been there before, what did you tell yourself in those moments?
So every situation when it got difficult, I ventured into an additional business model because I realized that this business won't suffice my needs anymore. I need to do a lot more. So that transition was more out of a compulsion than a choice at that point of time. Today, my diversification and me entering into multiple businesses is a choice that I make. But that point of time, it was a compulsion. Like for example, in the early 2000, I converted my proprietary company into a limited company, and when I did that, my chartered accountant started claiming depreciation on goodwill, and goodwill at that time was considered as an intangible asset which could not allow depreciation. Now this is a little technical for the people who might understand it. It will be great for them. One wrong step brought a momentary halt in my life, and I had a problem, serious problem with the income tax authorities because of that mistake, because we claim depreciation on an intangible asset. But you'll be surprised to know I'm not the guy who gives up. So I studied the law, I went into it. It took me 10 to 12 years. uh, the penalties of that particular case by the income tax department would have been so severe that I would have sold everything that I had and still I wouldn't have had money left with me. So I became a real estate developer out of compulsion. So they say, draw a line, and without rubbing it off, how can you make it smaller? So you have to draw a longer line next to it. That's what I did. So now I wanted to generate bigger revenue so that I could pay off this liability if it works against me. And I became a real estate developer. And then the line was drawn so long that this problem, which was a giant problem, suddenly became a small molecule. So that's how I did it. And that was out of compulsion. Subsequently, I went on and I won that case. And today in this country, depreciation on goodwill on an intangible asset is allowed.
Okay,
And
fantastic.
it is a case study for the whole nation.
Yes, that is a case study for the whole nation.
Yes. And
And
it took me 10 to 12 years,
yeah.
but it made me become a real estate developer in that particular situation. And again, I'm so thankful. So today, whenever I cross an income tax building, I bow my head with gratitude that if not for the case that you had filed, I wouldn't be what I'm doing today.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, first of all, there's so many things there. Let's unpack them for a moment, okay? There's so many things there. One is perspective. So you say, I have this of a problem. Let me put something bigger next to it. Bigger next to it's going to make that problem look a lot smaller. So that's perspective. Perspective is everything, right?
For against the problem, I
Yep.
create a bigger opportunity
Exactly. So
so that
it's
that problem either disappears
yes.
or it becomes a stepping stone for my next
Right, it
opportunity.
dwarfs it, right? And then also, I think this is again looking at something and being like, okay, this is a challenge. I'm going to take it on, and I'm not going to let it overwhelm me and overtake me.
Never.
So how? How do you let a problem not overtake you and over?
It is one night thought. Whenever I face a problem, that one night I'm sleepless. I'm sleepless on how I can overcome that. So I start mapping the resources that I have. I dive into that subject matter. I study a lot on that. I educate myself. I speak to the best people of the sector on what can go wrong in this particular situation or that particular subject. I learn it. Then I start mapping the resources that I have access to. And then I connect it together to solve that situation or convert that problem into an opportunity. And I've been doing this all my life. And that's how I've been stepping forward all the time. So, like they say, that if you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl.
Crawl. Yeah,
Whatever you do, keep moving ahead.
yeah, absolutely. And this
And that's what these situations teach you.
yeah, that's amazing. Then this also what we're talking about here in particular is the choice to address the problem. So what I did not hear, which is really important, I did not hear that you get lost in, and this is what often happens when we are struggling with something, is why me? Why is this happening? What could I have done? What if? So all those things are overthinking, right? That's not constructive thinking. That's not problem solving. What you decide to do was put that aside and say, I need to address this problem.
How do
so
I
let me
solve
do
it?
And how do I do it fast, right? So that's
how
what
do I
do.
solve it?
And how do you
Yes.
solve it? Absolutely. Okay. You often talk about execution being everything. What did the early grind teach you about getting things done?
Well, you have to lead from the front. So when the Twin Tower blast took place in US, the software training industry in India took a great beating. And 80% of my business used to come from software training. And but I was one of the only institutes which was training not only software but also hardware and animation and multimedia. But 80% revenues coming in from software. So we were badly hit. From 50 admissions per center, per outlet, per month, we came down to as low as just 5 admissions per month.
Wow, that's a
So
lot.
one evening, me and my wife, we sat down and we listed out all the assets that we had so that I could start selling it one by one so that we could float to pass those turbulent times. We made that list. And the next day onwards, I started going again door to door. My experience of being a door to door salesman has been extremely powerful and has been my backbone.
Yeah.
We were the first people in the country, this massive country, the beloved country of India, where I went door to door educating parents on how computer education can change the fortune of their children. And I started taking admissions for courses other than software.
Okay.
And suddenly, within the same month itself, the games changed and the 80% software admissions were converted to 80% of hardware networking and graphics animation multimedia admissions, and nothing changed. We didn't have to sell anything.
Okay.
Admissions were back to normal. The product changed, the course changed, but the number of students came back to the same 50 numbers per institute per month, and everything was hunky dory. A lot of institutes at that patch of time closed down because they were concentrating only on one line of courses, that was software. So leading from the front is what is required. And when I started going door to door, I took my teams along with me and then they duplicated what I did. So the multiple centers that we had started doing the same thing. And I called it as home counseling. Execution is the key. I could not have told my team to do that without I doing it.
Yes.
Whichever business I do, I make it a point that the toughest part of that business is shouldered by me alone all the time, always, in all the businesses. Every joint venture partner that I have or every employee who has worked with me will vouch for that. That if it is hunky dory, I will not be the guy in the front. But if it is something challenging to be solved, I will be the guy who will come in the front and solve it as an example for my team to follow so they can replicate what I could do.
Yeah, amazing. So this is great example of conscious leadership. So that's fantastic. So what we want to hear, which is leading by example, also taking the more challenging part and not putting that on your teams. Once you've modeled it, then you can put it on your teams, which is basically what you're saying. So
Absolutely.
fantastic. Also, I think that there's a big part in there, which is when you faced a problem and you when you face a problem and you see it's coming before you diversified, for example, in this case, you look at it and you say, okay, what do I have and how could I potentially solve it? So you give yourself a little bit of structure, for example, going through all your assets. You gave yourself structure and saying, okay, this is plan B, let's try plan A. And if plan A doesn't work, at least we have a solution. So then psychologically speaking, you give yourself a lot of strength. I think that that's a great takeaway from that as well. We're learning so much today. Told you masterclass. Okay, here we go. Okay, most people build new projects. You walk into incomplete ones and finish them. You remind me very much of my husband too. My husband is a fixer, so it's the same thing. When did you discover this was your superpower?
Well, very early in the real estate business, I realized this, and this is nothing but the blue ocean system that we talk about. The blue ocean technology where you create your own market by being different. So when the whole world was trying to get into new real estate projects, I went and started taking up the stuck projects. Okay. Nobody touches a stuck project.
Yes.
And I was making models on how you can make an incomplete stuck project successful and profitable. And believe me, there is more profit in solving a problem than taking advantage of a fresh situation. There is more profits in solving a problem. So I started picking up all real estate projects which had those challenges. Some were regulatory challenges, some were financial challenges, some were execution challenges. And by then, I had already built an ecosystem of resources so powerful that I could resolve any kind of a situation as far as real estate is concerned. Okay. So one thing that I would like to share here is the most powerful currency of the world is not a dinar or a dollar or a rupaya or any other currency. The most powerful currency is the currency of influence. And the currency of influence cannot be bought. The currency of influence has to be earned. And that has to be earned by setting the right examples as you live your life and as you are living.
Yes.
So we build that as an ecosystem, and my initial years of computer education, which I continued for 27 years of my life, that business model gave me the phenomenal exposure to earning a life of influence.
Amazing.
And there are many times and many situations in life where money fails, but influence and a word from the right person will always make do where money failed.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is relationship development and relationship building. Everything is everything.
It is the strongest ship. Relationship is the only ship that doesn't sink if you nurture it well.
That is true. That's a good one. Everybody, we're taking away so many things. That's a really good one. No, relationships absolutely are. And it's a foundation for our entire human existence, both in our interpersonal lives, but also in our business life. And I think people just bypass that part. You can't, it's like you can build whatever empire, but if that foundation isn't built with strong relationships, you're not going to have that influence and you're not going to have that resilience, and you're not going to have the resilience of your company either. So that's a great takeaway for all of us. Tell me, inside a day where everything was stuck, so one day that was nothing was working, I'm sure you've had several of those. Approvals were delayed, finances were stretched, teams were stressed. What did you tell yourself to keep going?
Well, I told myself that since I'm not into one line of activity, and this has happened with me, we built a project in Bandra and suddenly the rules change of the real estate sector and all the projects got stalled. Okay. And we had commitments to fulfill, and you'll be very happy to know this. Not a single commitment that we made ever failed. Whatever we could generate from other activities that we did, we supported that one project with the other revenues, but we didn't compromise with the commitments that we made. So in the process of making commitments, because that's where you earn influence. When you fulfill a commitment, your influence goes stronger. So we did that, and we did that with a lot of grit and determination, and quickly we created parallel solutions to solve a current situation. The organization where we had bought that piece of land, it was a society. We worked towards changing the rules of that society to adapt to the development that we were doing, since we could not change the rules that the government had set up.
Right. That's true.
So if not here, we tried to do it there. It happened at some other place, and we could go ahead with the project, and we finished that project in record time.
Amazing. One side question related to this that's not on our list here though, is again, you're leading this empire. Clearly, you say you take on the difficult problems head on. You must have a team that's inspired by you, but also must resonate very much with the same mindset, because they have to be very flexible with these things. For example, to see that situation, I'm sure, did it come from you to look at the rules to change the society rules, or did somebody else say, let's look at this differently? I mean, how would you say it's your team? Would you say it's you? Would you say it's a combination?
I pursued it.
Okay, so it's head-led.
I verified it with my team, who are more knowledgeable than me.
Yes.
And when they gave me the confirmation, I went ahead. I had dialogues with the society teams,
Okay.
society trustees and members, and I convinced them to cooperate, and they
Amazing.
did.
That's amazing. How would you, I would love to hear how you, in this, in I guess the environment of these kind of stressful situations, like this one, for example, super stressful. And it's amazing that you did not delay anything and everything was delivered on time. Frankly, that's like, I think that might be an enigma, frankly. I don't think that ever happens in real estate, to be honest. But anyway, so how would you describe, through this process, how would you have described your mental and emotional state?
Well, you get bogged down for that one day. So my nature that I've built from childhood is whenever there is a change in situation and it becomes a challenge, you think about it that first night and start mapping the resources on how you can solve it. I immediately get into broad line communication with all the resources that I have, which I can map to that current problem that I'm facing. I take the inputs from all those people, I make it as a formula, I make it as a plan, and instantly from the next day onwards, I start working towards that plan without losing time or getting bogged down by that situation. Now, you need to be brisk and need to be really fast and reactive to any situation that challenges you. If you lie low and if you keep waiting and keep being scared and keep pondering, that situation will eat you up. So, before that happens, you have to react.
Right. So how this is just a kind of this is for my own personal because I would like to know when you sit down, are you writing all this down?
I write
Are
all
you
this.
so you're mapping it out,
I map
literally
it out.
mapping it
I
out.
map it out.
Okay.
I sit that night. I don't sleep.
What does that table or room look like? Describe that room to
It
us.
is it is either my bedroom or my office room. So
Okay.
for the last many years, I've made sure that every house that I live in has a working space, has a working office for me.
Okay.
For me, I love what I do, and
Yes.
when you love what
That's
you do,
very obvious. Yes, which is
that's when,
fantastic.
yeah.
Yeah.
And when you love what you do, life is a picnic.
Yeah, and you never work a day in your life either.
Absolutely.
Right? Absolutely
So I
not.
keep working all the time. So I always have a very active working space in my house,
Yes.
every house that I live in. So I sit there and I keep working on it. And today, what was not there 20 years back, today there is internet to support me.
Right.
So I can really do my research well. And now though there is AI to support me. There is
Right.
Perplexity. There is Chat GPT. There are
Right.
too many tools which can support a mind like mine.
Right.
So I work on it very aggressively. That night, either in my bedroom or in my workspace, I don't give up. And the next day, immediately, I start working towards implementing the solution that is designed in my mind, but now has to convert into real time in real life.
Amazing.
So I start working towards implementing it.
Okay. And are when you go through that whole process, do you go within yourself? Like, so do you turn in introvert kind of, or how are you for those people around
For that
you?
one night, I'm complete introvert.
Yeah, yeah, I imagine.
It's only self-conversation, introspections, and research.
Do you talk to
Nothing
yourself
else.
out loud?
I talk to myself aloud.
Yes,
I make notes.
Yes,
Yeah.
these are all. By the way, these are all very consistent with every single person I've spoken to about this, but also if you read about this. So the mega leaders in building empires, they all do the same thing. Interestingly enough, they all write it down. Even though we have technology, I would maybe put aside maybe the tech people, but basically they all write it down. They go into themselves and they speak to themselves, which I know maybe makes you think that we're going crazy, but we're not going crazy. It's incredibly resourceful. So that's wonderful because you're getting the ideas out. You're hearing it, your subconscious hears it, then your mind processes it again. So it gives you order. At least it gives me
Absolutely.
order. When I have to solve something, I literally ask myself questions out loud. I don't necessarily answer myself out loud, but I ask the question out loud, and then it gives me the answer. You know, it's much easier. It's a much more efficient process.
So it gives me sanity in a very insane situation.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's at least seemingly, right? Right, especially if you're in a really, really tough situation. Okay, what is one revival project that taught you the biggest lesson about people, partnerships, or pressure?
Oh, there is this wonderful project that I completed in Coimbatore. Coimbatore is one part of India. It comes in the state of Tamil Nadu. It's a beautiful city. It's a beautiful green city. I never knew where Coimbatore was, and you'll be surprised to know that I finalized the project. We executed the agreement, and after that, I went to see the property in Coimbatore. It had all possible challenges that a real estate project can ever have. There were problems with the existing partners, there was problems with the land, there was problems with the authorities, there were problems with the neighboring area, there were all these problems. I took 6 months to solve every single problem before I could put the first brick. And thereon, I went to build one of the fastest developed projects of Coimbatore, and it's called the White House. And it is designed by Suzanne Khan. She is a renowned designer, and she did that design for us. and we built this in a record time of just 24 months. It is the fastest developed project of Coimbatore till date, rising out of the most complicated piece of land.
Have you become known now? If you, for example, now you're bringing up a question that I have that we have not put here, but do you think that you are now known? Like if somebody sees a project and they're like, that one looks really challenging, I know who I should be calling. I should call RJ. Do you think that's the case?
Absolutely, that's how I get my opportunities, because now it's a
Amazing.
legacy. That's my personal legacy.
Amazing. So that's another part of Success Decoded there is that if you're, don't be too afraid of the project. I mean, obviously be intelligent about it, but don't be too afraid of the project because what will come once you succeed is exactly this, right? So, I mean, this is, again, speaking to the influence, right, in the relationship part, because once you've been able to successfully do it and intelligently do it, then that's how your legacy is built, right, from there. Okay, so what makes a developer or an investor earn your trust today?
Well, today I'm an investor developer. So I don't develop myself, but I invest in developers who can do the project. And what they see in me is my abilities to insulate them from all forms of challenges for the project completion. Also my inputs on every aspect of a real estate development, whether it is architectural inputs, whether it is planning inputs, whether it is approvals, compliances, or handling any nuisance related to that project. So they will take my inputs, so I insulate them from all the challenges that the project might face, and I make them focus on completing the project on the ground. So they look at me from an investment perspective, but more than the money part, they are more keen to have me as their partner because they know that I will be able to add a lot of value to the project that's being built. So that brings opportunities to me,
And
and
that's your,
that's how they choose me.
yeah, and that's your reputation also. Again,
That's my reputation also.
back again to the influence part and the relationship building, right? So
Absolutely.
fantastic. All right, and we're going to talk a little bit about hospitality and building Santé, which I love Santé spa cuisine. I love it. This is like one of my favorite places.
So that makes two of us amongst the millions who are already
Yeah,
there.
millions and millions, right? I know. I love it. I love it. I love it.
So
Okay.
I am not the founder of Santé.
Yes.
Santé Spa Cuisine is founded by a chartered accountant qualified girl called
Yes.
Sonal Barmecha from Pune.
Yes.
She's the founder, and now I'm a partner.
Yes.
And I'm a growth investor. So whichever business that I invest into, my responsibility is the growth of that business. So I'm definitely responsible for the growth of Santé. So when you come to the beautiful city of Mumbai and if you enjoy Santé,
I do.
that is something that I initiated for the brand.
Yes.
And for my partner.
And I'm so happy that you did that, to be honest. Like, I'm so happy. And if you would
And-
like to come to Dubai with it, that would be amazing.
We will do that.
Please
We
do
will
that.
be doing
Please,
that.
I've actually said this to many people every time I'm there. I'm like, this place is the idea. So she has an amazing idea, and it's wonderful that you've made it grow. Like, and I'm a very healthy eater, so when I see this, I'm like, oh gosh, I wish they had this in Dubai. They have a lot of options in Dubai, but they do not have that. I can tell you right now, I've been there for 9 years, so I know they do not have that. Please come to Dubai. So that's fantastic, and it's such a unique concept. So vegetarian, global, mindful, but it's also, it's like very, very modern, but with a lot of wonderful tradition at the same
It
time.
is calculated indulgence.
Yeah, exactly.
It is indulgence which doesn't harm your health.
Exactly.
It's conscious food.
Yeah, it is conscious food, and it's really delicious also. What made you believe in it before anybody else?
The concept. I was kicked up with the concept. So I'm an entrepreneur who will invest into a business or participate in a business growth only if there is an impact. If I ask myself a question and if the answer does not have the word impact in it, I will not venture into that business. That is my mindset. That's how I'm wired. That's how I'm built. When I came across this concept 4 years back, I was thrilled. When I met the entrepreneur, the founder who started this, her vision, her belief system, what she's created, the truthfulness in what she says and what's being delivered on the plate when you're sitting in a Santé Spa cuisine, when that matches, you really understand that there is an impact. It's all about value creation. If you create value to your customer in the form of good health, you're an impactful brand. And that's what drove me towards this brand. And today this brand is my soul. I feel so proud of it. I wear it on my sleeve. I wear it on my shoulder very proudly. So these are businesses which are game changers in the society. And these businesses teach, like our tagline is honestly healthy. When we say we give you tasty food, which tickles your taste buds, but is good for your health, which supports your body and your system, we are actually honestly healthy in what we are offering. So it's a brand that resonates with truthfulness. And that's why I participated in this. And it's a long way to go. This is just the beginning.
I can only imagine, but it's going to be amazing and very delicious in that. So, what were the challenges that people didn't see behind the scenes creating a brand like this or growing a brand like this more?
This month we have completed 10 years. So that's
Okay,
one decade
congratulations.
of Santé Spa Cuisine.
Okay.
In the initial days, there used to be a lot of explanation that had to be given to the people about the dishes. We are one of the longest menus in the world. We are one of the only brands which doesn't use any colors, flavors, additives, preservatives, nothing artificial gets used. We don't use any refined stuff in the restaurant. So these are all uniqueness. Once upon a time, this had to be explained. But today, we have built a community. People know about Santé Spa Cuisine. People used to get confused with the word spa. They used to think that this is food with spa facilities also. But now they realize what Santé Spa Cuisine means, that spa is treatment to your body from outside. Santé Spa Cuisine is the food that nourishes your body from the inside. We are actually taking care and respecting the body that you own. And that is what Santé Spa Cuisine is all about. So those used to be the initial challenges, but now it has become a way of life and lifestyle to a lot of people.
And you're expanding. Will you talk to us a little bit about that? What excites you most? So you're expanding into Juhu and Bandra and anywhere else at that
So
point?
we are already present at BKC. We are
Okay.
at Nesco in Goregaon East. We are at Oshiwara. These are all hot destinations for
Yes.
the type of cuisine that we offer. Now my next wish list to be implemented is Juhu, Bandra and Pavai. So
Pavai.
these are the next 3 spots that we will pick up for the Santé Spa Cuisine brand.
Okay, very excited about that. I've been to 2 of those other locations, but I'll have to keep on trying them as we go. Okay, you work on sustainable water infrastructure, a space many founders won't even dare to enter. I can understand why that would be the case. What pulled you into this mission?
Water is a very delicate subject for me, because in my childhood we didn't have a tap in the house, and water used to be filled. One tap is to fill up the water of 16 families. 16 houses had just one tap. When I came across this opportunity, SDG 6. SDG 6, by the way, means Sustainable Development Goal number 6. And United Nations has a charter of 17 points. This is goal number 6. We could register a company by that name, fortunately. The goal number 6 is water and sanitation. Both are challenges that I faced all my life in my childhood when I lived in the place where I lived, in a place called Malvani in Malad. It's a slum area that point of time. So when this opportunity came across, and this was all about water storage, and this is a business where we build water storage facilities from 15,000 liters to 20 million liters. We are one of the best entity. We have factories in Bhiwandi and Ambernath. This is near Mumbai, in Thane. So we build these water storage tanks. These are assembled on the site, and we install it across India and across multiple countries of the world. So since it was water and it was water storage, I got into it. And then we are now innovating it further on how it can be a great value added service to the masses, to the massive population, because India faces a challenge of water in multiple ways. There are places where there is excess water, so there are damages, and there are places where there is no water, so there is a damage. So water storage is a great solution. So that's the reason I'm a part of this business model, which is called SDG 6 Technologies, focusing on water storage and sanitation.
Amazing. So this definitely speaks to your roots. It definitely speaks to the emotive part of
Absolutely.
it. It also speaks to having a community responsibility, because you also talk very much, and you said from the beginning that it's not just about your own growth and development, but bringing those people around you as well. So you're bringing society with you, and water is a limited resource, right? So we have to be really careful with our water, and so you're doing a lot of things also for the global community as well. Okay, so content media and monetization. Turning Red Media Studios is all about making content profitable. What made you realize content wasn't just entertainment, but a business model?
I realized that a couple of years back, till I came across this brilliant company called Turning Red Media Studios. We are an MCN. MCN is a multi-channel network. We are partners with the YouTube.
Okay.
We are also having our own CMS. CMS is Content Management Services. Now, today, if you go to see, content is everything. Content creates a community, and that community leads to commerce.
Yes.
So there is a correlation between content and commerce.
Yes.
So I realized that this is a brilliant sector and segment to be in. And since I operate so many multiple businesses, I need the vehicle of content to carry to the commerce that I intend to implement. So that's where this company came in, and I became a part of this company, and I took a stake in this company. And now I'm working towards growing this company multifold.
Okay.
Because that's my job. Any business that I enter into, my only core focus and my job role is to make it grow bigger,
I
10x.
think it's your passion. Huh?
And that's my
Job I
passion.
don't think. I think it's just like your skill set and your passion. This is again, we're talking about building an empire. This is exactly it, right? And so that's exactly what you're doing.
Absolutely, that's what I'm doing. And content is liquid gold today. If you
Yes.
see, it is content which can take you across the world. It can
Yes.
get you the attention of the people that you never knew before.
Yes,
And it is
absolutely.
one common language that the world speaks. And I don't need to know the language that the content is built in,
Yeah.
because there are subtitles and now
Right.
there is AI.
And now there's AI.
So nothing stops
Exactly.
from making you understand whatever content you enjoy
Yes.
and whatever content you want to see.
Yes.
And surprisingly, today the world watches content of a language that they can't speak or understand.
Yes.
Like, for example, I watch a lot of Spanish content with the help of subtitles.
Yes.
The most common language in the world today is subtitles.
Yes.
You see any content, there are subtitles
Yes.
in the language that you know.
Yes.
And now with AI, you might not even need the subtitles. Like, you've got the glasses coming in where you
Yes.
can see the content and hear it in the language that you understand.
Yeah, I know. It's
So
amazing.
technology is really changing the world.
It
It's
is.
changing the game as well.
Yes, super, super fast too. So you work with Sony, Lionsgate, PVR, Inox, etc. How do you see the next wave of digital content evolving?
So digital content is a way of life today, and every entrepreneur, every business, every businessman, and every individual is becoming a part of content directly or indirectly. It is a common thread that is binding the whole world together. The entire population is bound by one thread, and that is content. What you're also doing as a brilliant piece of content which will reach to so many people, teach them so many things in life, which will definitely change the fabric of the society. So content has become a good teacher. And if you know to do something right, you become a teacher through the content that you're building for the rest of the world to see. And YouTube as a platform is one single robust platform which has got no barrier. Anybody and everybody from across the world can participate on the channel, can participate on the platform, and can start distributing what they know. So it's a beautiful way of life, and I don't see a life here on. I don't see a life without being integrated with hardcore content of some nature or the other to every single living human being.
Okay, so what is the belief you hold today that your younger you wouldn't have understood?
Building an ecosystem of resources.
Okay.
Because my younger self, I was in the process of building the resources. Today, I realize the value of it. If you have a robust ecosystem, there is no situation in this world which will ever control you in a very bad way. But earning that ecosystem is a process. You really need to do that. And there again, the learnings from my parents helped me that sacrificing builds stronger relationships than taking advantage of relationships.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when you sacrifice for somebody, that somebody becomes a robust part of your life. Now, this has to be endured over a long period of time. A friend whom you would have supported 30 years back might suddenly be helpful to you today. Now, you didn't support then with the ulterior motive that you will get a help someday. That happened by the way, but you need to have collections of such kind of situations so that your ecosystem becomes powerful. A lot of people live towards themselves, have a very small network. I would like to tell them that please go and earn relationships. When you earn relationships, earning money is the easiest part of the life. Because
Absolutely.
you get recommended, people give testimonials, people vouch for you,
Yes.
and that is the real capital of business.
Yes,
Real
absolutely.
capital is not money.
No.
Real
No.
capital is what people talk about you behind your backs and who vouches for you.
Yes.
Who can give that testimonial that matters. And this has to be earned. And it's a homeopathic treatment. Homeopathic treatment is something which takes long to cure, but it's a solid cure.
Yes.
It is not allopathic where you cut, you stitch, and you start running.
Right.
Cannot
right.
be that way.
Right, absolutely. So this is your personal brand, has a huge amount of weight, which is what you've developed over time, and ulterior motives are not going to work. So let's just
Absolutely.
leave that at the door, because
Absolutely.
first of all, the karma, the energy, and everything else is bad with that one, but it also doesn't build relationships. Relationships are not a sum game, like equal to equal. It's not about that. You shouldn't even go in with that mindset. It's just, I want to help another human being, and then put it out there and see what comes, because evidently a lot of great things can come. All right, so now the seriousest part is done, but I really feel like that wasn't too serious, right?
It was
too
not
bad.
at all.
It
I
wasn't
loved
too
it.
bad. Okay, so let's end on something fun. This is a rapid fire, so whatever comes to mind, although you've been very good with this the whole time, so I'm not worried about it. But one business myth you now laugh at.
Business needs money.
Okay. A habit you swear by.
Consistency.
Okay. A founder you admire.
Steve Jobs and Anand Mahindra.
Great. Your guilty pleasure food.
The Casablanca pizza at Santé Spa Cuisine.
It's really good. Oh, it's really good. Okay. A city that inspires you.
Dubai.
Amazing. A mantra that you repeat often.
A mantra?
Mantra that you repeat often.
Every business needs to have a risk mitigation calculation.
Yes, it does. Yes. And life also needs a risk mitigation calculation as well. Okay. One investment you wish you made earlier.
In entertainment content.
Okay. A book that changed you.
Your life, your legacy.
Okay, this one I'm going to go read because I have not read that one yet. A belief you outgrown.
That life has limited choices.
Okay. Your strongest leadership trait.
Leading from the front.
Yeah, and I would say decisiveness is definitely a strong one there too. Okay. One thing people misunderstand about you.
My aggressiveness.
Yeah. One message you want every entrepreneur listening to take away.
Well, life has got unlimited possibilities, unimaginable possibilities, and there are plenty of resources that can help you to achieve those impossible possibilities into possible possibilities. Work towards it.
Okay, thank you so much. As I said to everyone, this was going to be a masterclass. I think we even got more than that. So thank you so much. And the takeaways here are endless. I have enjoyed this immensely. I wish it could go on for another couple of hours, but I look forward to speaking to you again in the future about this.
I look forward. It
And
was a pleasure.
I know that you've given, there's so many things, and no matter what industry you're working in, the mindset here is gold. So thank you for telling us how you built your empire and inspiring all of us.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure being with you on the show. You're one of the finest people that I've ever spoken to on a show.
Thank you very much.
Thank
I
you
take
so
that as an
much.
honor. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Agnelo, this was powerful. What I appreciate most is how honest and grounded you are about the journey, the risks, the failure, the wins, and the mindset behind it all. If this episode inspired you, motivated you, or even gave you a new way to look at your own challenges, share it with someone who needs to hear it and hit follow so you don't miss the next conversation on Success Decoded. I'm Taylor Elizabeth. See you in the next episode.